I'm not sure that there is a military scenario, but I think we have to keep that scenario on the table and hopefully come to a point where either they come to their senses, but because they're so irrational, I don't think that's likely. We'd have to hope that there could be, and maybe incent, regime change.
Look, if you go back 70, 80 years ago, they said the international man or the people that knew how to go to different countries, have different businesses, travel the world, that's a great thing. And then the globalists sold themselves as that, as humans working together and all the rest of it. Globalism is this global group of technocrats controlling everybody and then having secret agreements and secret groups and exempting themselves. That's the globalism we want to defeat. Bobby, I think you're getting at the point that we have to have copyright law where everybody's going to steal each other's inventions. But it has to be transparent. It has to be public. The countries have to be there as units of that, as firewalls to an authoritarian global government. That's where I'm going with this. Bobby, real quick comment, then I'm going to go back to Mr. Malik.
Yeah, so I'm from Tokyo, and I wish that Ted Malik would be our Minister of Foreign Trade and so forth, because we're so incompetent here. But one of the main points that I'm concerned about, which I'm interested in, is that with regards to North Korea, and it's related to Steve Pachinek's point, in that, North Korea is already starving and nearly dead. And nobody seems to be interested in keeping that area alive. Why not? Wouldn't it be an amazing feat for the United States if, like, Donald Trump would fly over there, say, "Hello, Rocket Man," and Rocket Man says,
"No, I agree, because as bad as I hate the communists, the people are slaves. They're totally brainwashed. It's a very, let's ask Ted Malik, that's a great question. What would you do about North Korea? Because, I mean, they're so belligerent. They're threatening all these attacks. I don't want a new war, but, I mean, what do we do?
Well, the problem is we've tried everything for more than 20 years, and we've given away the shop. Economic sanctions have, for the most part, either not been sufficient or have not worked. I mean, the allegation is that the Chinese and possibly the Russians control the economy, so you need their full cooperation in order to really put the screws to the North Korean situation. I'm not sure that there is a military scenario, but I think we have to keep that scenario on the table and hopefully come to a point where either they come to their senses, but because they're so irrational, I don't think that's likely. We'd have to hope that there could be, and maybe incent, regime change.
I agree with you, and really sell a new plan with Russia and China and the North to economically build them up, but they have to give the weapons up, agree, stop, have maybe a 10-year reunification plan. Instead, they just seem to be getting crazier and crazier with Kim Jong-un just firing missiles over Japan and threatening preemptive attacks. I got 4 children. I don't want nuclear war. I know the Russians and China are involved. But at the same time, this isn't like it's Iraq or something. This is a real lunatic threatening to nuke us.
Well, that is in fact the case, and he actually has some of those weapons now and some of the delivery systems. So if you put the two together, you can look at the circle or the arc of his possibilities, and it's quite frightening. So we'll see. This might all end rather badly in a fiery way, as the president has said. But I do want to say that you're absolutely right, and we're in total agreement. And the caller, I think, has made this point. Globalism is the problem, not world trade, not relations between people, not the nature of give and take between nations. Globalism is an ideology. It's actually an immanentizing of the eschaton. It's trying to bring heaven on earth, which actually violates the first.
It's global redistribution by a bunch of pointy-headed bureaucrats who become gods.
So we need to call out globalism for what it is. And that's what I've been doing these last few years.
An unelected authoritarian group of people on a power trip. Ted Malik, the new book, Common Sense Business Principles for Public Leadership. Everybody should get it. Let's talk more often. Thank you so much for spending so much time with us.
Great, Alex. Take care.
Get ready. Brandon Tatum. Tell everybody on Twitter and Facebook he's coming up.
What the aging process is when the cell replicates, we lose a little bit of our telomeres. Telomeres are the little cups on the end of our chromosomes.
And when it runs out, you start dying.
Secure your DNA force today at InfoWarsLife.com.